Doma Sports Talk worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed, baby. Now some interesting news in the world of boxing. We had a scandal basically over the weekend with Oscar Valdez at 130 pounds versus Conceicao, right? And we know that Conceicao won the fight basically, but he didn't get it. We know that Oscar Valdez was dope before and he was still able to fight. It's a big thing, and we know that the sanctioned body, the WBC, is on thin ice right now because they've been doing stuff for a while, and I think that the whole boxing community is sick and tired of it, right? Now, we had the judges judging this fight and giving the fight to Oscar Valdez. Two judges, 115, 113, and one even had it 117, 110, which was a travesty. Now, the newest thing that comes out is the guy who had it 117, 110. His name is Stephen Blia. And Stephen Blia is basically a WBC. He's down with the program. You know, he's the kind of guy with the t-shirts, and you know, every time you see a picture of him, you see the WBC in the background. So he's proud to be a WBC. You know, and as he's stated, he's been doing that for about 20 to 30 years. So, you know, he's proud. But he made a huge mistake, and we think that it's a trip. But he's come out with an open letter, and I think we're going to just read a little bit of it. And then, you know, on the back end of that, we'll talk about it. Anyway, he goes, my name is Stephen Blia, and this is an open letter which I have decided to write with regard to my scoring from last Friday night in the Valdez versus Conceicao fight in Tucson, Arizona on the 10th of September, right? I have been involved in boxing as a ring official both in amateur and professional field for more than 30 years. I have officiated over 60 championship title fights as a judge and referee in several countries of the world, including Japan, Thailand, Korea, China, Russia, Mexico, and the USA. I have judged over 200 fights and refereed over 500 pro fights with no controversy. I have watched the fight and thoroughly analyzed it. The 117-110 score is not accurate and does not represent the actions in the ring, and I feel my federation, the NABF, my organization, WBC, and most importantly, our sport and the fighters inside the ring. I would like to share my thoughts publicly on a specific conclusion I have reached important topics regarding judging in boxing. Close rounds. There were a few very close rounds in this fight, and I've made two mistakes. One, not to score 10-10 in 2 rounds. I felt there was not a clear winner. Two, scoring those to the champion, giving him the benefit in the close actions. Now, so let's stop for a second. That's why when I judge fights and I don't see who's winning the round, I just don't give it to one, right? I always judge them as a draw, right? That's one thing. I think that's what a lot of these judges are going to have to start doing in the future. But let's keep going. Back to the quotes. Crowd noise influence. It was a loud crowd in favor of Valdez. During the first rounds of the fight, some actions took place in the corner in which I had limited view and couldn't see. Some punches landed, they said land, but landed by Conceicao, and there was no crowd reaction, contrary to when Valdez landed. I was also dealing with photographers and cameramen all crammed up due to the location of the champion Valdez in the red corner to the left of me. I was between the photographs on the left and of me and the camera crew to the right, who at times bumped me and blocked and even stepped on my hands while going across the ring apron towards the champ's corner. It's kind of written funny. Considering these distractions, I honestly thought I would be able to do my job 100%. No excuses, right? Now, let me stop there again. Then we always talk about crowd noise. Didn't I say that they need to have headphones on? Blocked. Judges should not hear the crowd. Period. You're there to judge the fight. You should not hear the crowd. That is a problem with judging, because that's what happens. We know how biased the crowds are, and let's be honest about black fighters in America. The crowd's never going for them, right? Ever. So even only if they're in their home city. So some of the crowd, you can't depend on what they're talking about, because you can just throw flurries and they don't even land. If you're the fighter that they love, they're going to still be screaming. And those jabs and those other punches that the other fighter is doing, you don't hear anything about it. The only time you hear the crowd say anything about the opponent that they're not with is when he lands a great punch. You kind of hear a resounding ooh. Then you know something really, really significant has landed. So therefore, judges need headphones. They have crowd influence should not be one of the things, but that's one of the things he's touching on right now. So we got, what do we have so far? We have the crowd influence, right? We have him not judging 10-10 rounds, and he's also didn't see everything. And that should not, those are taboo things, right? Okay, that's what he's saying. Now, let's keep it moving. Getting stuck on one fighter. I awarded 3 out of the first 4 rounds to Valdez, which is a combination of the above points I have outlined. I've scored the bout on TV, and I have a 115-112 or even a 114-113 score of Valdez, which means he basically had Valdez still winning, but a lot closer. I have to my NABF/WBC ring official thorough training and review program, and will not accept any championship assignments until I complete this process. Now, he also says, I'm an honorable man with profound love, knowledge, and respect to the sport. I am sorry for having a bad night and having brought unnecessary controversy to such a sensational fight. Stephen Blair. Now, that's actually awesome that he came out and said that. Okay? Now, is it enough? Probably not. But you know inside, right now, most people, because we pissed, but we know right now that is at least a stand-up, come out and deal with the problem, not like we normally have, where people just ignore it and sweep it under the rug and keep it moving. Stephen Blair has, took this problem like a man, come out and told you. Matter of fact, and I liked what he said at the end, I ain't taking no more fights until I go back to school, basically, and get some more knowledge on what I'm doing wrong here, and get me some more schooling, right? And then I'll come out there. I'm not accepting that, right? Now, these things, coming from this area, I mean, we're living in the WBC, who has done so many things. We're living in where we hear that there's no black NBFs on Bob Arum's chalkboard. We're living through, Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy calling Al Heyman a nigga, talking to Ring Magazine, right? So there's so many things going on. We're seeing how the narratives are in these fights. We saw that nobody, even investigated Tyson Fury, no matter how many bad things the guy does. So it's a climate out there. There's so many overt things going on, you really can't keep up with them. Right? And that's what the key is. Just give them a massive of messed up stuff, and they can't keep up with all the stuff we're doing. But he was able in this climate to not really address it and just stay out a fight or two and come right back in, and he would have been okay. Just like you think, people still, Ring Magazine still brings out their pound for pound list and still talks like they're the boxing Bible. They never addressed that they called Al Heyman a nigga. Oscar De La Hoya is still doing interviews, and people will never ask him, because when they tried to ask him directly afterwards, they were kicked out of meetings, right? So these are how things go. Canelo Alvarez was just able to call Demetrius Andrade in front of the whole world a horrible fighter, a guy that I am not fighting Demetrius Andrade no matter what. If I'm the mandatory, if he the mandatory, if we can fight for undisputed, I don't give a damn what, and I ain't doing it, right? And he just ain't. And I'm going to call him a horrible fighter, and even though I'm avoiding him. And everybody's going to deal with it. He can just get away with it. So this climate, Stephen Blair didn't have to do this. So I'm going to give him props for at least coming out and addressing this problem. Now, I don't know if it's heartfelt. Sounds heartfelt. That's a real good one right there. And you know how we are. Because we're forgiving. We're not vindictive. At least he's done this. So I'm going to put him above the rest of the people who ignore what they've done. He's at least addressed what he's done. It seems like there's some remorse there. You're not sure of it. I don't know this man. I'm not sure of it, because listen, if you're dealing with the WBC, you've seen a whole lot of stuff, right? Here's another stuff. Now I'm going to go on the other side of this. Stephen Blair, you was at that fight. You could have boycotted the fight. Like, I ain't doing the fight, man. This man's doped. And matter of fact, you on the side of this guy, right? You should have been appalled that the fight was happening, and you shouldn't have wanted to give him a fight like that, because he's doped. So in close rounds, the benefit of the non-dope guy is what probably should have happened. But you work for the WBC, you know about the franchise title, you know about the other guys that were doped that they letting off. So you shouldn't have been involved with it. It's just about just like the what was that lately when that lady was uh, judging a fight and she was found out when she was racist. The WBA, they know about that. You know what I'm saying? She's married to one of the high ups in the WBA. So it's not like, you just got caught and now you got to come and say, hey, I know I was, it was wrong. But at the end of the day, you know who you're dealing with. You know who you're affiliated with. You know the narrative. You know what's been going on. So this is probably not a heartfelt apology. But I ain't gonna lie, it sure damn hell sounds like one. And I'm gonna give him more of a benefit of the doubt than the rest of these people that's out here acting up. Let's see what happens going forward with Stephen Blair. I think it's at least good that he came out and said something. What y'all think? Doma Sports Talk Worldwide. And I'm up out of here, y'all.